my neighbor is currently decorating the outside of their home, but they hired people to do it.
No.
Okay.
You can't do that.
I'm glad, because when I saw it, I was thinking about you because it's very cold here in New Jersey. I mean, very. Like when you walk outside, it hurts.
Yep.
And I know where you live, it's cold all the time. And
snowing right now.
You're exactly. It's snowing. You're used to it. So look, I understand my neighbors, why they're doing it. Which the Toby, who's the guy who lives there, he's from New England. Like he's from up there. Like I don't know why he's being such a priss and not going out there. And he listens to the show. So sorry, Tobe. But I don't know.
Toby.
Maybe they're smarter than us.
Oh, welcome to a Monster Scoop City episode on a Wednesday. I'm James Palmer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Smash that like button. See, got a little something. We got some energy today. Dianna Russini's with me. We're going to go through all of these monster games that we have right here in Week 14. We're going to talk about the Lions and their monster game on Thursday against the Cowboys. Colton Pouncy's going to join us to have that discussion a little bit later in the show. We're going to talk about the Chiefs and the Texans. Nobody wants to play the Texans defense right now, and now the Chiefs need to do it. A little shorthanded on that offensive line. Also, Pittsburgh Steelers. What's the panic level? We've heard the chants. We've heard them. It's very interesting there in Western Pennsylvania. Dianna, how are you doing today? Welcome in. And I just want to ask you right off the top here, your general sense of Week 14 is what? What
is happening? Who is good? Who is bad?
What?
And I've already started working on my column for the weekend. And I like to think of themes like before I start like making calls and doing some reporting. And I just feel like my theme is the same every week, which is who is the breakout team? Who's the best football team in the NFL right now? And I think you and I both agree it's the Rams.
Yeah, and then they lost to the Panthers.
But the fact that we can only name one comfortably right now, and then we could debate a whole show. We could probably do a different team for every show until the Super Bowl at this point. The way this is played. Do you like it this way?
I kind of like it because you can pick all the teams apart. Yeah. And I do like the parity of the NFL. I think that's what sets it apart from all the other leagues that we love to watch but don't cover, is that there's different teams. We've had really two teams dominate the last forever in the Patriots and the Chiefs. That's kind of where we've been. Is somebody going to knock them off? Right now, you look at the AFC and you're like, I can kind of say something about all these teams here that are in the postseason. So it's going to be...
There's a lot of imperfection, which is okay.
Yes, it's completely fine.
But at the same time, when we're discussing this stuff, it makes watching them actually more entertaining than I can recall, because you really don't know. And by the way, it also makes me feel really dumb, because people that I'm friends with will ask me, even my sister-in-law, who doesn't even like football, was like, hey, I'm watching this Eagles game. Are the Bears good? She's never asked me a football question in all the years I've been in her life.
Yeah.
But I didn't even know what to answer. I didn't know how to say it. I was like, I mean, today, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, today they're good. Yeah, I get so much static in my group of fantasy football players I'm with that, obviously all know what I do for a living and none of them do that. They're like, bro, you're getting waxed this year. I'm like, I didn't know Lamar Jackson would get me no points over the last 3 weeks.
Oh, that's the best when they get many. Bill Parcells said to me once, the smartest people that cover football are the ones that say, I don't know. He's like, because if I don't know, you sure as hell don't know. Right. So
yeah, totally.
I am getting more comfortable with just being like, yeah, I didn't know that the Texans were going to bounce and become the team that they are, which I can't wait to talk to you about.
We're going to get to it. And speaking of I don't know, or maybe being comfortable saying I don't know, let's get to Joe Schoen and his press conference with the New York media, Dianna, and how that transpired. I believe he was a shad late for said press conference. But this was really, I think, in a lot of people's minds, let's compare it to the press conference from last year and where he kept saying, we're this close. I think we're right there. We're this close. That was not the vibe of this press conference.
Unfortunately, every press conference that I've seen coming out of New York when they're scheduled that way, going back from ownership, when John Mara came out and spoke to the media about bringing back Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. And, we've said it on the show, it always looks like he was eating a lemon, right? It was like, he never came out swinging like, these are my guys. I believe, it was, Yeah, we're not happy. It needs to be better. Like he went very much, John Mara leaned into the fan base there. And I understood what he was doing, but you kind of knew your answer then if you weren't so sure a year ago, if you weren't able to kind of go into it going, these two guys are the best options for the New York Giants because I believe they're the best. Brian Daboll's the best head coach and Joe Schoen is the best GM. And now here we are. Brian Daboll is no longer employed by the New York Giants. And Joe Schoen, look, he was in a no-win.
Yeah.
And I've talked to a bunch of people with the Giants. Like, there was nothing he was going to say outside of I'm firing myself or I'm quitting that I think was going to make people happy. I just think what's hard about this is he just didn't have any answers. And it but I don't know if he should know the answers right now. That's where it was.
That's what I was going to ask you. Yeah, I don't think he has any answers because I don't think the people in the building have the exact answers for it right now. And I think that's part of the coaching search. They want coaches who come in this interview process to provide some of this is what I plan to do.
James, I remember having a conversation with an owner once. And it's kind of funny because he went on to hire someone like this. But his vibe that he was giving me was that he was just very turned off by strong, alpha, direct kind of coaches. And I think in some instances in business, that can be a turnoff, like very direct people. Not everyone is comfortable with that type of leadership. People like collaboration and a more friendly feel. But I think in the NFL, when you are managing so many different people, personalities, money, situation, changes, environments, pressure, fans, having someone to tell you what you're doing, what the answer is, can be really helpful. And I reflect on that conversation with this owner because, like I said, he did go on to hire this type of person. But I can see that resistance. And I don't see that resistance right now in this New York Giants organization in terms of what they're looking for next. I really don't see this team going in a soft-spoken type of intelligent play caller kind of guy. Like, the leader of men is probably 1A for what they want in the next coach. And when I say leader of men, it's the description I just used. I'm thinking of coaches like D'Amico, like Sean Payton, like Mike Vrabel, like Ben Johnson even, which that's why I give him so much credit. And he has my coach of the year vote at this moment because he has done such a great job of combining nerdy guy with leader of men, right? Like, that's the goal. That's the juice. Vrabel's obviously right in there too in the running, but the only reason why I don't lean towards him, because I think it's a little bit of a two-prong operation up there. I think Josh McDaniels is a big reason why they're having success.
Certainly.
But anyway, my point is, you look at last season headed into this year, and those two coaches who now have their teams at the top of their conferences were the hot names. And this year, there just aren't any of those guys.
No, it's very different this year. And you're right. And I think, just to clarify, I think you can be that direct coach. I think Mike's a little bit of this variable where I need you to do this. All right, go do it. And then let the coach handle it and let the coach, but at the same time, be very direct in how you want things done. And I think he is going, hey, Josh, I want you to do this, this, and this. And he then gets free reign to make sure it's done on his side of the ball. And
you know who's like that too? Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan also lead that way. Now, look, there are some of these guys that we've listed, and I'll probably lead with the micromanager of all, like Sean Payton. Like, there are some of these guys who are very good, but they get in everyone's soup a little, and that can be annoying. Yeah. Which just think about your own job, right? Like, we all work. It's very annoying when people are in your business and telling you how to do things. But they've been able to manage it and get over it and get everyone bought in. So I think the Giants, look, that's the dream for them, right? Is to get that type of leader in there because they have a lot of cleaning up to do. And I think that's the story of the New York Giants is they don't know what they are. They are the Titans of the North, and that's the mission. And it's kind of a bit ironic, right? The two teams that are in need of a new head coach have the same problem in a sense, which is they've got a quarterback that needs some growth, but this team needs to figure out what they are.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying. If I just look at the young nucleus that everybody's kind of maybe hanging their hat on, Diana, right, when you talk about who's going to be the next head coach, hey, you get this young group of players. And I know Chase was on our show saying a plan for Jaxson Dart is number one. But then when I look at it, you have Malik Nabers, who hasn't been shy about maybe saying how he feels and rubbing maybe some people in the locker room wrong and making sure you can but manage his personality and let him be himself, but get the most out of him. You have Abdul Carter, who once again was benched to start a game because of what he has done off the field and a reputation that he had slightly in some NFL circles heading into the NFL, that you have to make sure that you manage that number 3 overall pick the best you can. And you have a quarterback that has now gone to the podium after a game and doubled down and said, this is the way I play. You are going to have to manage personalities in this Giants job. And that's going to be a big part of the role that you play as that next head coach. Well, Joe Schoen, real quick, before we get to the rest of it, how is this process? Do you know anything about where it stands right now with Joe Schoen and ownership and where they're trying to use this extra time they have to their advantage?
Yeah, I've learned over the last few weeks, and he revealed it actually in his press conference. We've said the same thing, which is he is going to be evaluated at the end of the year, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I do think there's obviously non-football factors here with ownership, that having someone running point on the hiring process is important.
Yes.
And Joe may not be the perfect general manager, but I do think he knows good character, and I do think he knows what they're looking for and even what they need, right? I'm sure he's doing a lot of reflecting too on what they did wrong and maybe some of the weaknesses. And this isn't a pile on Brian Daboll at all, because Brian brought some great things to the New York Giants organization, but there were some weaknesses there. So maybe you use that as kind of a blueprint of okay, we tried this, we do this. We definitely don't like having a leader like this. And obviously, so one of the things that Joe has a reputation of around football that I've heard when I've even been critical of him has been he is truly one of those that's worked his way up. He did the work. Not a lot of shortcuts for Joe Schoen. He has spent years in the NFL
Certainly.
with different organizations, and so you got to hope with that, right? You've learned and you get experience, and I'm sure he's doing a lot of communication with other people that have had to be in the same position of what not to do, what to do to make sure that, because if he nails this, that could save his job, I think, right? If he gets the right head coach in here. If he, and I think we should probably dive into this next. Unfortunately for Joe Schoen, there isn't a Mike Vrabel, a Ben Johnson available.
No.
Because this group of coaching candidates, it's okay, right? It's not spectacular. Everyone has something that jumps, but no one, to me, in my opinion right now, is the gem,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which changes the landscape of this entire thing. You and I have had this discussion, outside of the show, that we do think it's going to be roughly what we see each and every year in terms of opportunities. It's been 5 or more every single year, Diana, dating back to 2011. So that's where we also, you and I talking, think this might still be, right? 5, 6, 7, somewhere in that range potentially. And oftentimes there's a guy like a Ben Johnson that's out there and goes, okay, this guy is going to get one of them. Chalk that off. That person doesn't really exist in this cycle. So it's going to be a bit of a, what flavor do you like? What are you looking for? Now, there could always be the big surprise if it's Mike Tomlin, like we discussed on the other show, and it's just something that doesn't come along very often, may skew what I'm saying right now. But the perception of it right now is there's some coordinators out there going, does this guy finally deserve a shot? Or this guy is a younger guy like a Jesse Minter who we're ready for him to get his shot. It's a lot of different types of personalities and types of leaders and coaches that this group is going to be looking at. I think it's going to be fascinating once we see which openings are exactly available and then which ones kind of fit the most. It's not like, hey, the Raiders really wanted Ben Johnson. Hey, the Bears really wanted Ben Johnson. Everybody wanted Ben Johnson. It's not maybe going to be exactly like that this time around.
Yeah. And look, the Raiders thought they had him.
Yeah.
Right? They thought they had him.
Tommy wanted him.
They thought that Tommy nailed Matthew Stafford down. Remember when they went skiing? Or what was it? They were Yellowstone? Where were they? They were
the Yellowstone Club, I believe. Yeah.
It was the Yellowstone Club.
Very jealous of that place.
Yeah, Chase was very
excited
place. To talk about it because he had been there and so once in a while Chase does this, James, and he hasn't done it with you, and I wonder if it's a gender thing. He
Peacocking? Is this it?
He will peacock a little sometimes, and I get reminded that Chase has done this at a high level. And I know we joke that, he's just a backup. He hangs with the dudes that have done it at a high level too, you know?
True.
And P.S. Chase has made a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so he's and God bless him for it. We love him, obviously, and he deserves it. But that was definitely a moment I remember during the show. He's like,
someday.
Yellowstone. I'm like, I've Googled it.
Yeah. Someday I'll get invited to a private ski resort.
So look, now I don't think that fans should be down on it though. Like, if you're a Giants fan, you shouldn't be like, I'm going to be bummed out because we're going to wind up with like someone very basic. I still think there's guys like Lou Anarumo who kind of are just the description that we're talking about. Guys love him. They love playing for him. He's smart. He's experienced. He's from New York. Not saying that that's the reason, but it's helpful. You know what you're dealing with. You have guys like Matt Nagy, who I think are going to get some interviews here, because sometimes that second go, you change, you learn a lot, right?
Yeah.
Robert Saleh falls in that category. I think he's going to get some opportunity on this. The one I want to see if New York does, he doesn't fit entirely in the description I just gave, but I'd like to see if New York would call Cliff Kingsbury in Washington and see what some of his ideas for Jaxson Dart. Like that would be interesting one to me. Like I put it this way, if they interview him, I won't be surprised, because that it makes sense. I just don't know if that's the direction New York would go in. And I don't know if that's what Cliff wants to do. Because a year ago, and granted things were very good back then, not saying that they aren't now, but they're obviously they're not having as much success, and there's going to probably be some turnover this offseason, right? They need some younger players. We've seen the old thing not work out here. But they still got the quarterback, a darn good one.
Yep.
So I'd be curious to see if Cliff wants to even throw his hat in this.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Because I remember that was the discussion last year, specifically with the Cowboys opening. Remember, it was like, is Cliff interested here? Is Cliff interested here? Because I do know, talking to people in Washington that were kind of close, and were like, do you understand Cliff is having the time of his life right now with Jaden Daniels? Like, he is loving working with Jaden Daniels.
You don't even need to acknowledge his friend saying it. He said it to us on Scoop City. Yeah. Like, he was like, I love this. He loves just play calling. All this head coaching stuff that we talk about and the responsibilities. And we're going to talk about this with Colton coming up in the show about what Dan Campbell's managing right now as a play caller and being in charge of everything. It's hard. It is so hard. So I think for some coaches, it's why they have success. Look in New England with Josh McDaniels, right? He's having so much success as a play caller. Wasn't really great as a head coach, as we know.
Hey, and he found his thing, man. Yeah, I always hear around the league, there's some people that are just great coordinators. Vic Fangio is just a great coordinator. Josh McDaniels is just a great coordinator. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all. All right, listen, we mentioned the Yellowstone Club. Let's talk about 14ers. Do you know what these are, Diana? There's 58 14ers in Colorado, where I live. They are peaks above 14,000 feet. It is a big thing out here to try to climb as many of them as you can. I made my list of the ones I've done: Mount Massive, Mount Albert, Pikes Peak, Snowmass Mountain, Mount of Holy Cross. These are the ones that I have done. And this is going to tie into our week 14. Okay? We're going to go through these teams that are right there on the bubble, right there trying to get into the postseason. We're going to alternate back and forth, bing, bang, boom, bump, about why this team will summit, get to the top, i.e. the postseason, or why they will, suffer from oxygen deprivation, fall off the side of the mountain all the way down to their death outside of the playoffs, and they're watching everybody playing in January, okay?
Before we do it.
You got my game?
I totally get the game.
Okay.
I got a million questions on the whole mountain climbing thing, which we don't need to get into too much, but I have two quick ones for you. One, how hard is it to climb a 14er?
A lot of them are just walking uphill, very steep.
Oh. Yeah. I like walking.
A lot of people. Yeah, it's not like you're like what's that guy like? The guy from Free Solo. The guy from Free Solo.
Like Rocky? I'm not Rocky. Like Sylvester Stallone. Like
no. Yeah, you don't need to be like Aaron Ralston, or I think that was the guy who chopped his own arm off while he was out there bouldering.
Yeah, so it's not like that. No. Okay.
A lot of them are like just a hard hike.
But is this a common thing people do? They're like, let's go walk a 14er?
Let's do a 14er? Yeah, it's like a very, very popular thing to do.
Okay, cool, learn something. Yeah. Great.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Come on out.
I like it. I'm all in. A, I want to do it. B, I'd like to start if you don't mind.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So the team that I want to pick and discuss with you that I think could reach the summit, I want to start positive with them, would be the Houston Texans, because I think they've got the best individual unit in the league. and that's their defense.
Fact.
Of their 12 games, they've played 9 against teams who are currently in the playoffs. The other 3 were the Titans twice and the Ravens. Okay. So I think with Indy free falling, Jacksonville, I don't even know what that is. They're just so inconsistent, right? Because sometimes they're really good. Sometimes they're all over the place. We don't always know what we're getting out of Trevor Lawrence. And all of this coming at the same time where Nick Caley is finding his stride. And we talked about it last show. You did such a good job of kind of giving us some, not even behind the scenes, but like good reporting on what's happened there, what's changed. And bottom line, they've arrived. Like that, this is the team to me that has figured out who they are now. And it's just taken 3 months. And I'm sure that's way too long for what D'Amico wants, but it doesn't matter because if you're playing well in December, you have this shot. This defense has been so outstanding, and you hear other teams talking about how good this defense is. Obviously, Will Anderson has been an absolute monster, right? They're going to try to get that deal locked up in this offseason, right? Well, he is a pillar of this defense, without a doubt. So I look forward to seeing what they do there. They're going to make that a priority. But I think just being able to rely on that has really helped them.
Everything. Okay.
That's the good. Do you have any problems with my good? With my summit?
Good. You're good as spot on. Summit is perfect. We're there. We're standing on top. We're playing the flag.
We're going to fall down fast. I'll fall down fast. Yep. The offense is still maddeningly inconsistent, right? I've been preaching the run game with you every single show that this is the time of year, the teams that run the ball well. They run the ball well. They're just collectively not doing it the best in football, right? They rank towards the bottom actually right now.
Yeah.
So I think this game against Kansas City is just going to tell us so much. They probably need to go perfect or close to it just to get to the postseason. And so to me, that's the downfall is you're facing Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid. They've been there. They've done that. Pressure doesn't really bother them. No. Whereas I think that this could be the season for the Houston Texans.
Oh, I like it. Also, yeah, you got that pass rush going against a shorthanded offensive line in Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes is going to be on the move. Okay, I have the Steelers next, okay? We're going to reach this summit if the Baltimore Ravens keep playing the way they're playing. I think that's how the Steelers reach this summit and get into the postseason. I think that is going to be it. This offense that is happening in Baltimore right now is disjointed. It's not working. Lamar doesn't look like himself at all. People are just scratching their heads down and trying to figure out what's going on. This, I believe, is how the Steelers would get into the postseason, is if the Ravens continue to play this way offensively and almost hand them the division. They will play each other this week, so we'll get a chance to see these two teams go against one another. The other part of it is if they keep turning the football over as a defense, that's really what they've hung their hat on the last 2 seasons, honestly, and it's masked a lot of the issues that they've had on the defensive side of the ball. Turnovers mask a lot of issues. If they can do that, we'll see. All right, why they're going to fall off, maybe like Oregon Trail, suffer from diphtheria or something like that, and they're not going to be able to continue, is they just keep doing what they're doing. It doesn't seem like if they keep doing what they've been doing, which is the entire year, specifically offensively, Diana, where it's this quick passing game and it's get the ball out of Aaron Rodgers' hands quickly and it's get it into DK Metcalf's hands in under 2 seconds and then he's going to get yards after the catch. And in the first several weeks, it kind of worked. I think Arthur Smith was working with a variety of things trying to put this offense together that's actually personnel-wise very strangely put together with the way their tight ends are, and they're still looking for that number 2 receiver, and they were at the deadline but didn't make anything happen. Well, they got Adam Thielen now, I guess. But and now it's just not working. They're in 3rd and long constantly. The quick passing game isn't there. The run game isn't there. I just think I don't see how they can play differently.
Yeah.
So I see that being the thing that keeps them out. Okay.
Did you see that tweet from that one Pittsburgh Steelers fan? It was a couple days ago, and he was like, we know what's going to happen. Mike Tomlin's going to come out here and say, you can't eat soup with forks, so we need some spoons, and then we'll go and sign a 2018 Pro Bowler. And then they got Adam Thielen. Dude, his tweet got like 90 million views because everyone was like, that is exactly what Tomlin would say. We can't eat our soup with forks. We need spoons. Like, it's such a Tomlinism.
Tomlinism. There you go. You got it.
Okay. I would like to enter Mountain Big Red. I'm going to go back to the Chiefs. I know I've talked about them a bit because we were talking about the Texans. They're my next 14er. I think they get to the top because they're going to take advantage of their coach and their quarterback throughout the rest of this regular season and their opponents, right? They're just going to lean into their strength, which is them. Mm-hmm. And while it hasn't been blockbuster where they're like showing the highlights on SportsCenter all day long, the Kansas City offense has been really good. They've been efficient. It's the pass rush that's been hard. Spags has had to blitz out of his mind to make up for the fact that they're just a little older and they're not as good as they've been in years past. But I just think the fact that they've got this championship way mentality, been their experience, they can get to the top and lean into that. And I don't know.
And they have their super fan in Chase Daniels, so they
do. And I also think they're like, they remind me of me in college where it's like, they're just the biggest procrastinators. I just don't think they really show up till now. Like all right,
we got this.
Now we'll play ball. We got it.
We got this.
Now here's the problem. I do think at a certain point, a team is trying to tell you who they are. They're 6-6. And I feel like the Chiefs are like, yeah, we're a 500 team. Like, believe us. I'm begging, I usually lean like Chase though, where I'm like, all right, they figured it out. I don't know. I just think right now with the defense not holding up, the pass rush struggling, the mystique has gone a little. And I think that's where they could maybe get into some trouble. So they've got Christmas Day game left on the slate and another short week because of that against Denver and matchups against the Chargers and Texans on Sunday Night Football. So
I can't wait to watch that one on Sunday night. I cannot wait to watch that game on Sunday night. But first, we're going to have this one on Thursday. We talked to Colton Pouncy a little bit later in this show about the Lions and the Cowboys. And I have the Lions right here.
Okay.
If they lose this game.
I've been looking forward to this one.
Okay. If they lose this game, they drop to a 12% chance of getting into the postseason. Are they going to summit? I think it all hinges on I was going to put my leg up, but I'm not flexible enough. Amon-Ra St. Brown's ankle. That is it. That is how you get in because you can't. Well, there you go. Yeah, you did it. God. One up me again, Diana. Listen, this offense is we saw when he was off the field what it was like, Diana, and how they were able to continuously crowd the box, the Packers, and make sure that Jahmyr Gibbs doesn't beat you with explosive plays. I think it was 20 carries for 68 yards against that Packers defense. So if you don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown, you already don't have Sam Laporta, you have issues, you need that ankle to be healthy. I think that's how you get yourself back into this. If you have the guy who is so reliable, who plays everywhere across the field, opens things up for everybody else. With him on the field, it actually makes Jameson Williams even better, even though we know that Dan Campbell wants to get him the football and he's gotten better this season. I think Jameson Williams, he's been doing better, but I think Amon St. Brown's ankle is everything. Why they will be denied. There's a reason everybody in Detroit was going, Frank Ragnow's coming out of retirement. Let's go. Because the interior of the offensive line is yikes. And that's what's going to keep them off. And you go look at who you have in this first game, and you have 3 defensive tackles in Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and Osa Odighizuwa, and you have a lot of issues in protecting a quarterback that doesn't move very, very well. And that interior, I remember having this conversation with you, I think in the offseason, where everybody was like, they're losing Aaron Glenn. They're losing Ben Johnson. I was like, they're losing Frank Ragnow in the middle of that offensive line.
I do remember you saying that.
Like, that's everything. His communication, the way he studies, the way he makes the rest of the group better. He takes stuff off of Jared Goff's plate. Like, it has not been the same group in almost every single metric as an offense. They went from one of the best offensive lines to maybe middle to the back end of the pack as an offensive line, and he's the main reason. That is the reason they will not beat them. They will not get into the postseason, as it is the interior portion of this offensive line.
Good. Well, if we're going to talk Lions, let's just talk Cowboys, right? Let's just do it since they got a big matchup. So for me, my next mountain is Dallas. I think they can reach a summit because Jerry Jones's revamped defense is stepping up. Right?
Yeah.
He said he was going to do it. He actually made the moves. Here in come Logan Wilson, Quinnen Williams, and the improvements. And what's wild, James, and this isn't calling you out, this just is the reality of the situation. Do you remember what you said before the trade deadline? Trade George Pickens. Remember, you're like, trade him. Like, might as well. You're not going anywhere.
Well, they are going somewhere now with George.
They're going somewhere. And now, look, he's one of the best receivers. They're rolling. And how about their schedule, right? They've got a soft end to this thing.
Really
They got the
soft.
Vikings, which we're not sure what's going on there. We got the Commanders, they're injured. We got the Giants, whatever. 3 of their final 4 games. So if they can just get past Detroit here, this is their big test. They're going to get some help here on the schedule.
Yeah.
Chase said it. Dak is playing at an MVP level right now. Yep. And he just is going to continue. The momentum's behind him. He's confident he's playing. they found themselves at the right time. So that's why I think they can reach that. Here's why I think that they could fall down. They're so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Right? So I just gave you that soft schedule. Couldn't you see them losing to one of these teams? Couldn't you see the Giants beating them? Like, even though we just saw whatever garbage that was on Monday night against the Patriots, I could see the Giants just doing something and catching Dallas. They averaged 32.7 points per game at home, 25.8 on the road, and that is just at 2-4. So this is kind of like the same problem the Bengals ran into. When you depend so heavily on this offense, you kind of have to be okay. Actually, I don't like that point because I'm cut that because I contradicted myself. So no, I'm going to
strike it from the record.
Strike it from the record. I just think with them being so inconsistent and not proving that they can do this through a full season, this could bite them. Thursday is everything to Dallas. Thursday is everything. They beat them. I think they can maybe get through, but I have big concerns if they don't beat Detroit.
Yeah. You know what? And I kind of want Dallas to win because I want to see if this keeps going. I want to see if this keeps going.
It's been so long since we've seen Dallas, right? They've had success, but I know for as long as we've covered the NFL, we missed the hot years. We were too young, I want to see. Yeah. I want to see.
I was screaming at everybody in a Dallas Cowboys starter jacket on the playground at Upper Merion Middle School going, whoa. What are you rooting for the Cowboys for? We're here in Philadelphia. But I'm kind of intrigued by Dallas. I'm intrigued what's happening. And I'm intrigued what's going to happen in 2026 because I think they can keep this group together. And then let's see what happens with this team.
It is kind of crazy that we're here, that we're saying this because we did just have such a bad attitude about them.
We really did. That was a bad attitude, JP. Change it. How about the Carolina Panthers?
Okay.
What a wild one to bring up. But they are in the mix of it. How about this? Coming fresh off this win over the Rams, who we all said was the best team in football, and they go out there and they play smart football in Dave Canales' mentor style, Diana, in terms of the way Pete Carroll plays. We make sure we run the football. We get some chunk plays for some touchdowns. We make sure we turn the football over as a defense and control the clock. That's what they have to do if they get to the summit. They have to play the way they played against the Rams. And really, if they beat the Bucs twice, which they have that coming up, and they'll finish the season against Tampa Bay, who is getting healthier and will make them probably much more difficult to play in the back end of the season as everybody seems to be coming back. But they win those two games, they can be in a really good spot to win this division. What they have to do to get to that summit, honestly, is play the way I just mentioned it, and you limit the opportunities for Bryce Young. I know that sounds wild, but when I talk to people there, that's when they feel like they're at their best. Run the football well. You have two backs that they're trying to use both of them now to tire teams down. And Sean McVay actually said that we could kind of feel that they were wearing us down. Running backs were falling forward. Then you have 20 throws, 25 throws for Bryce Young, and he makes big plays in big moments. I think he has been able to do that, right? He has 5 comeback wins this year. So if Bryce is limited, he will make the plays. They will be denied because of Bryce Young. that will be what
You're
holds
kind of a
them
jerk,
back.
but yes, I get it.
Yes, because when I ask around the league and I ask people, they're like, 1 week it's, I don't think he's it, man. And then the next week it's like, I don't know, maybe there's something there because he is super calm. He's always in control. He is very poised in big moments. I remember when I was down at his pro day and we were talking, and first I was like, this is like the number one pick. I'm not that big, but this is the number one pick. But then everybody at Alabama was like, you want to know something about Bryce? You can drop him in a pit full of rattlesnakes. His heart won't go up one beat. And I'm like, okay, all right. I guess that's a big trait for Bryce Young. He doesn't panic in big moments. But if you make them one-dimensional and you have to have Bryce throw it 40 times a game, 35 times a game, I think you can stop the Panthers very easily.
Yeah.
Because the passing game is somewhat limited. So that's who's
the most don't panic, rattlesnakes are biting you and rattling at you quarterback of all the ones you've covered?
It's Patrick Mahomes because there was actually data because he was wearing one of those I don't know. I always was heart
rate
monitor.
monitors.
Yeah, If you're at Orange Theory, it's like a heart rate monitor. But
you do Orange Theory?
I used to. I didn't. It was kind of like a cult. I don't know if you're part of it, but anyway, they said in those moments his heart rate was lower than it was during pregame, which is fascinating.
Think
to me.
about that.
Yeah, fascinating.
I think there's those that look it though and are actually it. Because Patrick doesn't look calm. He looks like he's going to kill someone.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, but internally he's just like, and it's special.
I think Jaden Daniels is amazing at being chill.
That's a good one.
Remember some of those shots last year, like in the NFC Championship game? Like he was just like,
Yeah, it still reminds me of my favorite moment ever.
That don't sell it. Like this is like a very like most coaches would pop me in the face for saying it. Like you should celebrate all your victories and all your touchdowns. But I do kind of dig the quarterbacks where like they score and they don't even look. Like they're just like, we're in. Those
are the GOAT ones, yeah. And still the best one ever is Joe Montana.
Oh yeah.
Remember when Joe was like, is that John Candy in the huddle?
Yep.
Oh, still the best line ever. Love it. Awesome. Okay, I love this game. It was great. Maybe you'll come out to Colorado. We'll do a 14er. We'll crush it. Be a Scoop City 14er. Maybe we'll rename it. You never know. Coming up on Scoop City on a Wednesday, we have Colton Pouncy joining us. We're going to break down in another layer about that Lions team and go inside the locker room and see what he provides for us. Coming up next. Welcome back to Scoop City on a Wednesday. James Palmer, Dianna Russini with you. We teased it, and now here he is. Colton Pouncy joins us. He covers the Lions so brilliantly, Dianna, for us here at The Athletic. We'll get to some of the stuff you've written recently, which I thought was outstanding, specifically focused on the trenches, Colton. But what I look at is, what is the vibe in this room right now? I mean, can you feel the pressure of where things are? In our playoff simulator at The Athletic, 13% chance of the postseason. They lose this game Thursday against the Cowboys. Where does this locker room, in your mind, kind of stand in the feeling? Are they tight? Take us inside there.
Yeah, man, the stakes are high right now. And I've never really covered a season like this since they've turned the corner in 2023. They're usually in a pretty good spot around this time. Dan Campbell likes to call it the risers and followers once you hit November, December. That's something he mentioned even a few weeks ago heading into November. They've been a follower if you look at their recent stretch. They've lost 3 of their last 5 games. It looks like they're kind of pressing a little bit. They've called the last couple losses must-win games against the Eagles and the Packers, and they lost both of those. So I don't know what this one would qualify as, but they definitely need to get it done. So, yeah, they're at a point where, look, you can't really afford many slip-ups. The margin for error is very small right now. Something Aiden Hutchinson told us in the locker room this week is, hey, you look around this building, you see the word grit plastered all over the walls, all over the ceiling, the building, wherever you look up, that word is there. It's time for us to kind of experience that and show that we are the gritty team that we say we are. And they're really hitting that point of the schedule, and they got to lock in for sure.
Yeah, they definitely feel it. And just reading some of the quotes coming out of the locker room from your stories too, you can, they know, right? Like they're not hiding from it either. Like they know what's at stake. With that in mind though, with this offense, let's start on that side of the ball. So we know over the last few weeks, the play calling has changed, going from Johnny Morin to Dan Campbell taking over. Just from your observations, being around it, talking to the guys, is it actually better? Like, do you feel that they're more comfortable in it?
I think a lot of us looked at that Commanders game that was Dan's first game calling plays, and we're just like, wow, this looks like the 2024 offense when Ben Johnson was running it, because they're getting David Montgomery involved. They're getting Jameson Williams the ball. They're spreading the wealth. The offensive line is blocking long enough to give Jared time to throw. But that was sort of fool's gold because they're playing the Commanders, and we had to see more of it. They come back that next week against the Eagles and only put up 9 points, and it's kind of been hit or miss since then. And one of the reasons Dan was kind of hesitant to make that move, at least, when he did, was he thought it would kind of take him away from other responsibilities as a head coach. He knew what it would require of him to take on that role, and it's kind of hurt them in some ways, elsewhere. They had 10 men on the field, 12 men on the field the last game. Like, you see some little miscommunication things. I wonder if that's kind of drawing him away from the overall aspects of being a head coach since he's taken on play calling responsibilities. But when you look at it, a lot of the issues start with the offensive line. That was a problem when John Morton was calling plays. They allowed quick pressure at, one of the highest rates in the NFL. And when you have a quarterback like Jared Goff, who's not the most mobile, as we know.
That's so polite, Colton.
I'm trying to be. When that pressure is coming, especially in the interior quickly, it kind of derails a lot of what they do in this timing-based offense. So that's something I made note of back then, even when John Morton was calling plays. And when Dan took over, it looked good for a week, but they've kind of reverted to some of those issues along the offensive line, and that's sort of their biggest drawback right now.
Yeah, I know. I wonder about that, just because it's always I don't want to say it's like a big topic when coaches are making those calls, but that's always the disadvantage of calling plays is really hard when you're the man in charge. Like it just is. And this is coming from some of the best that do it. Yep. They'll share that. You have to really have a good balance and understand, and also be able to rely on so many of your assistants. So I'm interested to see if he goes back to it, because you're not married to it. Like we've seen other teams do it where you go back to having the play caller do it, depending on how Dan feels about it. Even though I know he did say officially, right, it's going to be him the rest of the year. But we'll see if things change. I want to know if anything's going to change on his fourth down strategy.
They're terrible right now at it. Colton.
Yeah.
Like, this is the worst in the NFL right now, the stretch. What, they got 7 in a row or something, is it, that they haven't?
Yeah. For their last 7. That's kind of shocking. And like, you look at some of the miscues there. It's like a Jameson Williams drop where he's wide open. If that ball's in front of him, he probably catches it and turns and runs for maybe a touchdown against the Packers. He drops it. That sets him back. Some of the play calls on fourth down and short where you're just running it up the middle, I take some issue with that. I think you can get a little bit more creative with it, but yeah, for their last 7 for a team where this has been their bread and butter over the years, converting on fourth down, even on third downs when they have like a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. A lot of times they would only run a play that they know is going to get like maybe 4 or 5 yards, knowing they're going to set up 4th and short to convert. And they're still doing that to an extent, but they're just not converting when it matters. And that was a big difference in that Packers game. I think the Packers went 3 of 3 on fourth down versus the Lions going 0 for 2. A lot of the overall numbers were pretty similar, but that was a big difference in that one. And that put them in a hole that they're trying to dig themselves out of right now.
Yeah, we're focused on this offense, Colton, rightfully so, because we know that the Cowboys know how to put points on the board, right? So do you keep up with them in a sense? And you have no Sam Laporta, and there's a question mark next to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I kind of want you to take everybody inside this Lions offense and kind of tell everybody how it works in terms of how much Amon-Ra's moved around, how much plays off of what he does, and how the rest of the offense kind of spins around him and Jahmyr Gibbs in a sense. And it's almost like right now it feels like there's this vibe where it's like, can Jahmyr just break one? Like that would really help. You know what I mean? Like there's like in terms of how it all works, whether Amon-Ra's on the field or not. How do you see that?
Yeah, there's a lot of boomer busts to this offense right now, and Jahmyr Gibbs has saved the day a lot of the times with his explosive runs. We saw it against the Giants. The Lions really had no business winning that game against the Giants. They had to go into overtime just to get it done, and that's because Jahmyr Gibbs had a career day on the ground. So they kind of go as Gibbs goes, and then Saint in the passing game, this passing off is so timing and rhythm based. We saw these in-breaking routes to Sam Laporta, to Amon-Ra St. Brown. When those guys aren't on the field, it kind of limits what they can do offensively. And then you see Jared Goff have to pivot, and the long ball to Jameson Williams hasn't really been there this year. They've tried to force that a couple times, hasn't really worked. We'll see if Saint ends up playing this week against the Cowboys. I would imagine he'll be listed as questionable, but that ankle injury is still bothering him a little bit. I think he called it annoying the other day. So, we'll see if he can be out there. But even without him, if he's not out there, Laporta's not out there, he's going to have to rely on Jameson Williams, who did step up against the Packers, but he's going to need to continue that. They've got a 3rd round pick in Isaac DeSlot, hasn't played a ton. They're going to rely on him now a little bit more. So, yeah, the passing offense is kind of limiting what they can do. And again, going back to the offensive line, they're missing a couple guys, at least against the Packers last week. I think that really showed up against, Micah Parsons. That kind of showed up against him. He had 2.5 sacks on Thanksgiving. So if they can't hold up against Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark and these boys, it could be a rough day.
Yeah. And it kind of is coming full circle here in terms of we're talking about how, them going for it on fourth downs every time and passing up field goals is putting that pressure on the defense, right? Yeah. It's putting them in a bad position, and it's kind of putting them in a position to have to carry this team. Yeah. Is this something that you think could get adjusted, knowing that it is doing that? Because that's the truth, Yeah,
it's tough because against the Eagles, that was really the game where they're going for on fourth down. They're not converting. They're putting a lot of pressure on the defense. And the defense, to their credit, stepped up. And they were stopping the tush push. I was shocked watching from the press box the job that they were doing against that Philly offense, which has had its own struggles. But I was still really impressed from that game. Since then, I believe they've allowed 58 points defensively. So now the defense isn't really there. They went from calling themselves the firefighters to probably being the arsonists now.
I love
when you kind of look at it, yeah. So it hasn't been great defensively, man. And I mean, It's tough because you have Aiden Hutchinson, who is coming back from an injury. The pass rush was a big topic of conversation out here all offseason. He's playing his first full season since 2023, and it really looks like it's showing. He's getting chipped at one of the highest rates in the NFL. He's having to kind of weave through an entire offensive line just to get to the quarterback. And the Lions have had, I think, the slowest time to pressure among pass rushers and pass rush elements this season. So that's kind of showing with Hutch and the pass rush, and they're not getting home. That's allowing quarterbacks all day to throw back there. The secondary is in position, but they can't make plays. And now the defense is kind of faltering when they need them to step up. So there's just not a lot going right now with this team. And you don't want to say that going into December. You really don't.
Oh, you don't want to say that going to this game, and you don't want to say that going against Dak Prescott. Let's give Dak a bunch of time to throw to George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb and Ferguson and Javonte Williams out of the backfield. Like it's going to be something to watch. Listen, this is what they have for the rest of the season. They have this Cowboys game: Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears. Oof.
James, I have one more question before we let Colton go.
Yeah.
I was sitting with my 70-year-old father-in-law watching that Lions game, and we stayed on the couch to watch the halftime show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude.
That was awesome.
Like, that, it's good when all the different age categories is like, wow. Well, I know you're in the building, so what was it like? Was it as electric as it looked on television?
Yeah, it really was. The Lions did a great job with that, honestly. And I had kind of written a story about their plans for the halftime show and how they want to really elevate that experience. So they brought in the production crew that did the Super Bowl for Kendrick Lamar last year. So they really wanted to do it up for Thanksgiving and put on a good show. They wanted to make it Detroit focused. So they had Jack White as the first pick with Eminem and Paul Rosenberg, kind of executive producers of that show going forward. So they wanted a Detroit focus. They got it. Eminem came out, performed with Jack. That was electric. The building was on fire. It was crazy to see. So
Isn't it so hard when you're a reporter and you're sitting there? It's like and people don't get this. Like, you're at work, right?
Yeah.
But it's so hard not to be Colton, the normal person, when you hear this music, you're like, you want to go and you can't. You got to just sit there like, yo, this is great.
No, I didn't do that, Diana. Super Bowl at SoFi, we left the press box and went down into the stands to party with everybody everybody was out there from Snoop on down.
Unbelievable. Dr. Dre, all of them. Yeah, it was
we
so
all
big.
left the press box.
I just wish the Lions, and not that any of us have a rooting interest, but after watching the halftime show, I was like, all right, let's go now. Like, this is where I thought Detroit would kind of play into that. I'm sure Eminem had the same thought of like, all right, this place is rocking now. Let's just finish them off. And obviously that did not happen. So, all right, Colton, thanks so much for hanging out with us. Appreciate all the insight. And it's cool. It's cool to jam a little bit in the press box.
Absolutely.
It's okay to jam a little bit. And Jack White will make you jam. I saw him this year, or this summer.
You did?
His tour. Oh, yeah. I'm a huge Jack White fan. I went and saw him. It was incredible. I mean, dude puts on a show. This was like an audition, I think, for a future Super Bowl halftime show.
Could be.
This was kind of like, hey, guys, this is what I can bring to the table. I'm Jack White, recently inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's right. Let's go. You know what I mean?
Your move, Bad Bunny.
Yeah. Oh, Diana, don't stir the pot. All right, coming up, we do have a little bit more on Scoop City coming up. Diana and I are going to discuss how we put our Christmas lights up and how everybody else does it in the neighborhood. Yeah, hard-hitting stuff. So, welcome back to Scoop City on a Wednesday as we close things out. Diana Russini, James Palmer back with you. Diana, I know you have a lot of family traditions. We want to step away from football here because the Thanksgiving weekend for the Russini family is a lot of football, a lot of family, and I believe you turn the page very quickly to Christmas.
We did. We are here. Which, by the way, my neighbor is currently decorating the outside of their home, but they hired people to do it.
No.
Okay.
You can't do that.
I'm glad, because when I saw it, I was thinking about you because it's very cold here in New Jersey. I mean, very. Like, when you walk outside, it hurts.
Yeah.
And I know where you live, it's cold all the time. And
snowing
you're kind of
right now.
You're exactly. It's snowing that you're used to it. So, look, I understand my neighbors, why they're doing it. Which the Toby, who's the guy who lives there, he's from New England. Like, he's from up there. Like, I don't know why he's being such a priss and not going out there. And he listens to the show. So sorry, Tobe. But I don't know. Maybe they're smarter than us.
No, I'll say this. In the neighborhood, when I'm driving around the streets, and I live in one of these like Stepford Wise type of neighborhoods here in Denver, where everything's perfect.
Yeah.
And the houses that get it professionally done do look amazing.
They're amazing.
They really do. But I go all the way up on the roof. I'm laying completely flat on the roof, clipping each thing down the side. And as I've gotten older every year, I'm more and more terrified to go up there as I've gotten older.
Is that, well, you lose your balance. I've been, in my Pilates class, I noticed it all the time. I'm like, when did all of a sudden I get wobbly?
Yeah,
it just happens.
And I just picture myself going down.
I know.
Straight off the side.
That is dangerous.
But
now, does Meg go out to sort of supervise a little?
Well, she'll do the when they walk out into the street and she'll go like this.
He says they, and we all know they means the wives. The wives walk out and fold their arms.
It is true because she has a great eye too. So she'll be like, now that needs to go a little, yep, right there. Can you move? And I'm like, do you know how long it took me to get it to here? And now I got to move it to here. But she does have a good eye, so I got to trust it. But she gets out there and she's like, no, it's perfect. Don't move it. And then I got to back away.
See, I think this is why we have a show together, but we're very similar and we were raised very similarly. And so to me, it's like, why would you do that? Part of the enjoyment of decorating is
100%
kind of going through that. Now, look, this is coming from a woman who is sitting in a warm house watching football on Sunday while Kevin was out on the ladder doing all these lights, and it came out good. By the way, credit to Meg. I didn't even go out. I didn't check on him.
Check.
There was one time the door opened and he asked me a score and I yelled it out the door. Other than that, my boys wanted nothing to do with it either.
I usually have my phone in my pocket and I'm listening to either Entourage or The Sopranos in my ears while I'm decorating.
He was
or
definitely
Christmas
doing
Vacation.
this thing. There's a show he's watching too. That's always on. I want that show to end. It's so annoying. It's always on if he's not listening to a football podcast. But he was definitely doing it as well. But as I'm watching Toby and Casey have paid help do it, while it feels wrong, their house is going to look amazing.
It's going to look amazing.
By the way, ours looks just okay.
It looks fine, but we're hosting too, so I want to go above and beyond. Like when my parents are flying out from Philly, I want it to look great when they arrive. You know what I mean? Because he taught me everything I know about exterior illumination. So.
If you're listening, let us know if you do your own decorations. Yes. But I also want to hear from the people who do the paid helpers, because I want to know if you think it's worth it. Because I know it's pricey. I've asked. It's a lot.
It is, but there's a row of 7 homes that all use the same guy, and that just looks flawless right down the row. Oh, yeah, it's just. But then there I am. I'm like, half my shit's out. Sorry, half my lights are out, and I'm like, well, throw this one away. Time to go back to Home Depot and buy another one. Half of them are out. I'm not getting one of the little fuse things out of the little packet that comes with the lights. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. Okay.
No.
All right. Let's shut this down. Now I'm getting upset.
We've got tons of holiday talk to get into, but I'm so glad that we discussed this, because I was thinking of you when I saw it. I'm just like, what do people in Colorado do? I think it's the same situation. So shout out to those dads on the ladders.
It's a badge of glory me and Kev got on that ladder. It's exactly the way it works. All right, for Colton, Pouncy, Dianna Russini, James Palmer with you. We'll be back. Enjoy your games and take it easy.
Good games. Thanks for watching Scoop City. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and feel free to leave a comment. New episodes of Scoop City drop every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.